All right. So, just need a moment to get us started. Okay, we're good. I'm Ashley Bradley. I am doing some free mini readings for you today. I'll get started out by just pulling a few cards to get us started. Actually, I'm actually going to open my phone as well because my comments were not working the last time. So I'm going to see if I can test it. Let's see if I could test it. That's right, testing. Oh, it's working. Okay, great. So, all you have to do if you'd like a reading for today is to give me your first name and give me a question. We're looking for open ended questions, meaning questions that are beyond a yes no question. So, we have some place to go with the reading. I'm going to pull a few cards to just pull in some of the collective energy that's here, and then we'll see if there's anyone that has a specific question. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull in a few categories. We're going to look at health, money, relationship, and expression. Okay. Give me a second because they're just flying everywhere. So I always say that the energy of the shuffle really has to do with like the energy that's coming in for that reading as well. And it's quite chaotic. It's a quite chaotic energy. I feel like these cards are floating down everywhere. So starting with the energy that I feel in terms of our collective right now with health is it feels a little bit chaotic. It feels a little bit like it feels a bit like the energy of life around us is chaotic, that it's kind of throwing it's the sense of like routines getting thrown off, like new things starting, things ending, and that kind of throwing off like your health routines a little bit. So I do feel like I want to direct our collective to just kind of reassessing like what are your routines in health, what are the things that like really give you the most bang for your buck, that maybe you've let go of recently, that maybe you have had to condense or pull out of your routine or pause for a while, and just look at like how you might be able to shuffle around your routine based on how it's working now to better support your health and your well-being on all levels. Okay, so we do have we do have the Page of Pentacle cards coming in reverse, and that's bringing in the energy of like lack of commitment, a little bit of laziness, a little bit of procrastination, like when it comes to our health and our routines, which is okay. So James motherfucking S. Slesser. Okay. For your first name, what's the next step in becoming published next year? I love that question. So we're definitely going to go with you. Okay. So, yeah. So in terms of our collective, in terms of like health, well-being on every level, before we move on to James's question, it's okay. Like if we have some times where we're feeling a little lazy, where we're procrastinating, you are human. We are all human. Just get back up on the horses that matter is what I want to say. Like the ones that are meaningful parts of like your health and wellness journey, like to basically find time to recommit before you're going into this next week is what I want to say. Okay, so for James, in terms of becoming a published author in the next year, take a nice deep breath in and release. Let's pull a couple cards for you. Anybody else that would like to get a mini read after James, all you got to do is put your first name and a specific question. Oh. we're looking for a few cards. Sometimes like a whole lot falls out and it's like, we're not going to go into like 5, 6, 10 cards. Okay. Purpose and impact. That card is coming in reverse. So I feel like I want to plug you into the energy first and foremost of like the reason why it's meaningful you to get published, because I feel like it means something on a deeper level. And I think that what really drives the energy forward for you and what keeps you showing up and taking small steps one at a time, this is definitely something that's gonna have to do with you taking small steps one at a time, is to okay, so I feel like a couple things. I feel like on a logistical level, I see you like setting a goal, sharing that goal, and then beginning to talk to people about what you're working on, to like your supportive group of friends. Hi, Shield. Hi, Emily. Emily, I see your question. And Shield, if you have a question, if you want to drop that. But James, I feel like I really want to plug you in to like the purpose and impact piece of what's kind of bigger than you being a published offer, of what's like on the other side of that. And then also there's money blocks and morning routine that are coming in with that. I do feel like there's a bit of resistance to make money on things that have to do with purpose and impact. So I just want to plant that seed of curiosity, and to have you, if you feel that resonates, to look deeper into that. And I feel like with the morning routine, I know that you're very powerful when it comes to your morning routine. So I think that you finding a way to put some of these baby steps into your morning routine and to basically make this a priority that you are giving to yourself at the first like part of every single day or most days feels like the way that you make that happen. Thank you, James. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Emily next, and then Shield, or anybody else that has a question, drop that in the comments. Oh, thank you, James. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so Emily, clarity on one thing I need to focus on in expanding my business. Okay, cool. So I'm going to take a deep breath. If anyone wants to join me, we're just going to release anything that's come before this moment. Release, letting it go. I'm going to pull a few cards from the business deck related to next steps. So sales and selling, lead generation. Let's see if there's anything else that wants to come in with this. I feel like these ones want to be a part of it. Okay. Okay, so I see two levels to this. I see an energetic layer to this, and then I see like steps and actions that you take that kind of set you up to receive the money and the clients in the 3D world. So in terms of like 3D actions, I'm feeling like a change is calling to you in terms of lead generation, because I feel like there's I'm feeling 3, but I feel like one of the sources of where you would get clients feels less active lately. And so I kind of feel like there's something that is not working as well that maybe it's time to let go of. And I feel like there's something else that's been calling to you. Like it feels like it's something that's within your awareness, but you haven't necessarily taken the steps. But I do see like different methods being used in terms of how you are, I guess, receiving the clients. It does feel like something. I feel it twofold. I feel like there's like I see your face talking, like just out there in the world talking to people. Like I see you on video more, but then I also see that there's some kind of ads or marketing money that basically starts to go behind the content that is popular. And I guess I just feel like and it's interesting, I see like all of these crows, like this whole like flock of crows just kind of flooding and flying to the window as I'm talking about that. But it feels as though on the energetic side, the manifesting card came in reverse, the portals card came in. So to me, like on the energetic side, it essentially feels like you're kind of widening like the portal of receiving, and it feels like it's a mix here. It feels like it's not maybe necessarily something that you've never done before, but it feels like it might be new in the way that you're like creating and kind of like putting marketing money behind this like content to bring in new clients. And then it feels like there's a lot of energy work that goes with that action. I'm not sure if this is like something that you've done before that makes sense to you. I'll kind of let you take this in the direction that if it feels right. I always tell people take what makes sense, take what resonates, and leave the rest. But from my quick read, that's what I'm feeling, Emily. It feels both energetic and action oriented in the sense of like how you're setting up your um, lead generation and sales channels. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. Anybody that has a question that wants to go after Shield, go ahead and drop that. Good. Thanks, Emily. So go ahead and drop the first name and the question in the comments if you'd like to go next. And I'm just going to take a moment before I go into Shield just to take a breath, take a little sip of water, and then we'll move forward. And today is the last day for my reading special. It's $99. It's a Zoom reading 1-to-1 for 1 hour on Zoom. And if anybody wants to grab one of those spots, you can send me a direct message. So for Shield, your first name is Jimmy. Okay. What is coming up with on the career front? Looking to take things a bit further. Okay. Shield. Jimmy. Sorry, I'll start calling you Jimmy now. Okay. Well, these cards are just flying everywhere today. Jimmy. So, coming up with the career front. Okay, so there's a few things. I feel like there's some kind of different kind of job position, like something that you've been asking for. But it feels like a bit of frustration related to like lack of options. Would that make sense? The community card came in reverse. So I feel like there's something that has kind of like what it feels like is a more reclusive energy, like not going out, not being around people, not being a part of community in the way that you were. So what it feels like that really opens up this energy for you is like starting to say yes to more social and community gatherings, Jimmy. Because I feel like right now for you, the community, what I'm hearing specifically is that it really nurtures your soul and that there's, I kind of feel as though there's like a very loud inner critic, and that when you're separating yourself from other people too much, that it's almost as if like that inner critic and that self view lately has it just feels like it's like stopped you from feeling your best. Not to say that we should rely on other people to necessarily like provide that for us, but it just feels like this sense of like friendship and camaraderie and community. It just feels like that's like really something that your soul needs. And I guess I want you to prioritize it. So I hear you said yes. So I think you're maybe understanding that. Um, I see that the other card that came in is the Empress card reverse. And this is representing energies of like creative blocks, inaction, indecisiveness, feeling a bit anxious about things. So what this feels like to me is that there's a career leap that you want to take, but it's in a very different direction and that there's a lot of fears behind it. And so I kind of feel like there's this like safe career path. And then I feel like there's this like other one that feels a bit more I guess I want to say unique, maybe less understood by people, that maybe it's harder for you to believe that it would actually be possible. But I kind of feel like there's a few options here, and that the thing that you really want, I feel like the best step for you to take is to really be able to get on board with the possibility of that happening. Because I feel like otherwise, the safe choice, I don't really feel like is I guess I just see a pattern here of you kind of making choices that are safer, but then like going to something different career wise and thinking that, oh, this is going to be it. But when it's like another kind of just somewhat safe choice that you're not that excited about, it feels like it has an expiration date of your level of commitment to it. I feel like there's some kind of big like interest or thing that you're kind of like obsessed with that you spend a lot of time doing, but that you're almost like too afraid to bring that like into like the career money making space. But if that's true, I really want you to maybe consider that, think about that, and see what might be possible. Let me know if that makes sense, what resonates for you there, Jimmy. Yes, this is true. Hi. Hi, Kayla. So, anything that wants to come through for the plot of your current fiction story or anything else surrounding that? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Thanks, Shield. Can you share with me, Kayla, your intention for the book? Because I feel like I want to tune into the energy that you want it to hold, and then we'll pull through elements that are related to that. All right. And then if anybody would like to go next that has not received their reading today, I'm going to be on for about 12 more minutes. So get your question in the comments, and then you can go after Kayla. I know there might be like a little bit of there we go. Intention is magic. Humans being magical, portals, spirit animals, adventure. Um, and being a powerful mage. Oh, I love it. Okay. I want to grab like a slightly different deck, is what I'm thinking. Earth magic and spirit animals. We're going to pull from those. Okay. Okay, so with this intention of Kayla's book, let's pull anything that's going to be like for the greatest and highest good. That might spark ideas, that might spark memories, inspiration, things that are asking to be considered, to be a part of this beautiful book. That's what we are bringing through. cards just all over the ground today. Okay. Okay, so Groundhog Spirit, Time to Let Go is the first card that's coming through. So for me, I feel like this is a sense of like helping people to let go of preconceived notions of themselves, the world, and how they believe things operate. It feels like it's something that um, takes them out of their everyday reality. What I see here is happening on an energetic level, Kayla. Oh, there's quests to become initiated into full magical powers. Okay. So what I feel here, Kayla, is this is something that um that when they let go and they're like in a place of imagination, that it feels like there's a deeper transformation that's taking place with what you're writing about. But that it's kind of like there's all sorts of throat stuff going on right now too. But it feels as though there's different parallel like journeys or experiences that happen in this book in the same time when people let go of their regular reality. Does that make sense? The lotus flower to me, this feels like the unfoldment, and so what I see is that the plot unfolds in a way that there's almost like layers of an onion, different stages of levels of understanding, and levels of what I see is kind of like this archetypal wisdom that comes through the characters, and it makes sense. Yeah, different archetypal energies that come through, and that the stories um, allow people to connect with deeper parts of themselves. The wind card activation. So, what I see is that it feels like it's like a hero's journey story with those kinds of stages, and that each stage has an activation. It feels like there's like a reference thing in the back where um it's like a part of the story, but then it's like it feels like there's like tools or things that people go back to like in their journey as different reference points, and that there's like kind of like a quick reference section for these activations. So for instance, like if like there might be like a crossing the threshold kind of thing where the character is kind of like on their adventure. Okay, absolutely right. Yeah. And so there might be like something knowing like what it feels like to like what are the fears there at the threshold. It feels like you use kind of yourself and your clients and kind of understanding what the biggest thing is that you're actually overcoming, and that it provides some kind of spoken activation is what I'm feeling. There's also some kind of artwork. Oh, music is coming in with harmony. I'll set music aside because um I do feel like there might be like a thing that people download that might have some music involved that's like spoken by you that gets them onto your email list, because I feel like like I guess um in some ways like I'm wanting to take this book and kind of like tie it into the rest of the magic that is you. We also have the shaman card, that there's a lot of ancient healing and wisdom, and the wolf card about trusting instinct. I also feel like the main character of this book as well, that it does feel like they are, how you're saying, kind of like a magical being coming initiated into their full powers. So I feel like that's what the shaman card's representing. With the wolf card, I do feel like one of the main things that the shaman or the magical being character is going to, heavy shamanism. Okay, great, great, great. Yeah, is it's going to look at is I guess there's like, I want to talk about earth signs, that there's like parts of like how the land and the plants communicate with people, or how the land and plants are used. That feels like it's a part of their plot on each stage of the journey. I also want to speak to that there's an element of like the instinct. I do think that the wolf and the instinct is very much for you, right? To kind of trust your own instincts and to see that we're we're picking up on like the same kinds of energies and vibes. Like I absolutely feel that you're so tapped into this already, but I feel like it's going to be the journey of like how this main character is trusting their own instinct, and it feels as though some of the plot like focuses on developing that understanding of themselves of how to hear their own instinct and how to trust it. And so I feel like that's kind of the teaching and the learning part of the book. Thank you, Kayla. I'm going to go to Jules next. And we might have time for like one more person after Jules. I'm getting all of the elements. I love it. I love being able to provide confirmations to other brilliant souls out there who are so tapped in, just so that you can see how like tapped in you are and that we're both picking up on that energy, because I think it helps us to just like trust our own knowing. So I love being that. Thank you, Kayla. Okay, so we're gonna take a nice deep breath and release. Let it go. Okay, so we're going to go Jules, we're going to go Catherine, and then that's going to be the last one for today. And then I have my $99 special. It's a 1-hour reading, one-to-one on Zoom. So if anybody wants to grab that, that's the last day today for that special, as long as it's booked by today. And it could go, into next week or the week following even. Okay, so Jules, what do I need to know between now and the end of the year to start 2025 powerfully? Okay, so I want to go in terms of deck. Okay, so Jules, I'd like to pull one from my business deck and one from this deck. Okay, so the writing card came up for the business deck, Jules. Ancestors, generations, writing, community. Okay, so what I feel for you, like kind of on an emotional, personal level, Jules, is that the Purify card came out, the Ancestors card came out, and then we'll go to writing and community. Is I feel like for you, Jules, I want you to kind of listen or notice of like elements that are kind of connected into your soul generationally. Like I feel like there's some elements that you're gonna clear and purify, and it feels like it has something to do with it feels like I want you to be curious about the parts of your generational line or family members that it feels like were the most victimized, that would be the most afraid, that would be lacking trust in community. Because I feel like there's things that are coming in through your experience and things that are needing to be healed, that are kind of like epigenetics that are being I feel like coming out in your experience is what I want to say. So for you, I do feel like there's a different community that's wanting to be called in. I feel like it's your community, and I think that you have been really trying to decide like the best way to begin that community. But I do feel as though it's taking some initial steps for you to start the community that you're wanting to see, because I feel like in trying to find it in other places that you're really being pushed to like not necessarily look there anymore, but to like build it yourself and to find a way to have it be what I feel satisfying for you, but also when you're doing other events or different things that you have a place ready where people kind of come, where they hang out, where you share what you do, because I feel like that's one of the biggest desires I feel like in your soul's energy is to be creating this community. And then something with writing. I do feel like I'm just gonna kind of plant this seed for you because I do feel like there's probably something in terms of writing that's gonna have to maybe do with energy work for you around scripting and around like setting the energy ahead of time. I feel like there's also parts of it for you in terms of getting more comfortable in terms of writing about yourself and writing about what you do. I feel like there's aspects of it in there as well. So um, I guess I would put a little bit of attention and focus on both of those areas, on community, on the healing of some of that ancestral stuff that I mentioned, and then also looking at places that you have writing for your business that feel like they're asking for like an upgrade, like that there's a different energy that's here now that wants to be expressed. So I'll leave it at that. Last but not least, Catherine, trying to get clarity about my art. It's been a struggle financially. I have an Etsy store, but it's been a struggle and that you feel stuck. Okay. All right. So, Catherine, I'm going to just take a moment to physically and energetically clear some space. I won't be live on Monday this week. I have been going live on like Monday early afternoon because of the holiday, but I will be back doing my early afternoon lives the week after. Okay, so Catherine, let's see what quick message we can get here related to Etsy. I do feel like it's something that wants to go beyond Etsy, but I want to just pull a few here from my business deck and then one from my other tarot deck as well. Spirit team, money and pricing wants to come into the conversation. Okay, so first off, Catherine, with that spirit team card coming up, I feel like I want to point you first and foremost to like talking to your soul self, your God source, universe, divine. Like I feel like I want to point you towards connecting with that side of yourself. It feels like there's a lot of energy related to kind of what you think makes sense, and that it's really challenging sometimes for us to just from a logic based place really sort out what the best next step is for our business. So the spirit team card is coming in with the energy of not necessarily needing to find answers externally, but finding the best way that you communicate with your soul self, with your spirit team, to start to get some guidance and some intuition, some ideas that can start to move your business in a different direction. The money and pricing card is coming in reverse. So I do feel like there's something that feels off in terms of how you're charging. It feels to me like you're not what it feels like right now is that there's like a lot of options for people, but I don't feel like there's a lot of stuff happening that's driving the sales. And it feels like there needs to be more of a plan and more actions that actually drive people to go and make the purchases, because it feels like there's a lot of stuff that's been set up that's not necessarily moving. But I know that with things like Etsy, there's times where people, whether it's advertising dollars or going and doing things organically that help to point people back to your Etsy store. It feels like a lot more needs to be done that I think kind of bring new people into your world. The also feels as though the price that you're making for each order doesn't feel right. I don't know if you feel almost like you're trying to give people such a good price or such a good deal, but that after, I'm not sure if it's physical or digital what that you're selling on Etsy, but it feels as though you need to reconsider your pricing on things, and have a few different like tiers of pricing as well. And then the energy of okay, so the energy of shattered dreams, disconnection, misaligned. This to me feels like just emotionally what you're feeling, how you're saying, I feel really stuck. So, what I want to share is that I feel like this energy around this Etsy business, it kind of feels like something that you built that you thought was going to be a lot easier, kind of like a build it and they will come kind of energy. And I think that it's requiring more than what you anticipated. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that it's not worth it to make it work, but I feel like you're going to have to get more creative and put more time into kind of strategically making a plan of how you're going to drive like more interest to what you're doing. So I don't feel like it's something that you're meant to walk away from. It just feels like something that you're meant to give more time to. And then, okay, lastly, there's a community card that's coming in reverse. So I would also encourage you, Catherine, you're saying makes sense, to think about the community that you serve and to have your social media almost gather people around in terms of that community, and then kind of like talk about the different products, the different things that you sell on there that are a part of it. But I do feel like there's a different strategy related to social media that would be kind of niching you to a certain community or a certain lifestyle that ties into your products, and that's going to help to start what I'm feeling is generate sales and also repeat business. Michelle, that is my last one today was Catherine, but for anybody that would like to grab my reading special, whether you've done a reading with me on a different day before or in the past, I do have my $99 reading special that goes until end of day. My 1 hour sessions on Zoom are usually $250, and my special right now is $99 for a reading where we're on Zoom together for an hour. We're interacting. We're starting with a specific question or curiosity, and then I'm able to get feedback from you and additional questions so that we can go really deep into the reading. Since I have coaching background as well, then I'm always going to make sure that that reading is more than just an interesting exchange, that the parts that resonate most with you, I'm going to ask you to commit to those things so that you're leaving that session actually having a plan, actually having a commitment to yourself of what you're doing next. And then I also send you off with a digital goodie bag as well, especially for business owners, since I've created content for nearly a decade for different business owners, variety of different courses. I'll basically hand select modules or audios that I have that I feel really set you up for your next step. And I send you off with those just to kind of support you and taking the parts of your reading that you want to action and like taking those first steps. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.